Kahala Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachaha Kradash. Double honors to the elder apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, for teaching His word in truth and sincerity. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, and peace and salutations to the sincere Akim that's pushing His word in truth and sincerity. To you I say Shalom. Second Esdras 9:1. He answered me and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before. So our duty is to measure the time diligently, and we're supposed to observe the things that are happening here in Babylon and across the globe, mainly here in Babylon, and report what we see. Report the downfall of this wicked kingdom known as Babylon the Great. And that's all our job is, man, is to report what we see and pray to the Most High to destroy this place. I'm going to read that verse again, but I want to go to 2nd Esdras 8:63, just to get a feel of what was said right before that. This is 2nd Esdras 8:63. Behold, O Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, now hast thou showed me the multitude of wonders which thou wilt begin to do in the last times, but at what time thou hast not shown me. So we haven't given an exact time, day of when the Lord is coming back, but He showed us a multitude of things, a slew of things that's going to transpire in these last days upon His return. Now I'm gonna go back to 2nd Esdras 9:1. 2nd Esdras 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before. Verse 2. Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the Highest will begin to visit the world which He made. And we're watching the signs. We're witnessing the signs. If the Lord gave you the eye salve, if He gave you that eye ointment to see what's actually transpiring here in Babylon and across, the planet, you're witnessing the end. You're watching our enemies crash out. We're watching our enemies. We're watching the demise of our enemies. We're watching our enemies fall. The economic system, the political system, their trust amongst themselves. We're watching the Lord work a wonderful works. There's been so many earthquakes, droughts, thunderstorms, flooding. We're watching pestilence. There's been so many different diseases within the last 6 months that has plagued this place, that the signs are evident that the Lord is on His way, man. This is verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and that's what we're watching. How many earthquakes has it been since the year kicked in? If you go back just from this date to last year, this date, it's been over 100,000 earthquakes. And like the brothers in the camp were saying, this weekend, a lot of those have been all sevens, 7.3, 7.6, 7.2, 7.1, 7.0. Completion, man. 7 is the number of completion. So the Lord is on his way. Recently, there was a report that there was going to be an earthquake in Alaska. Now, how you predict the earthquake? This is letting you know that they're using their pseudoscience, their wicked devices to create these events. But as we know, Proverbs 20 and 24, man's going is of the Lord. So how could he understand his own way? Roughly paraphrasing. But the Lord controls our steps. He controls our path. He dictates what we do, on this planet. Whether you want to believe it or not. So, yeah, he's making these devils, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He's making him produce these things. So we're watching. So we've seen earthquakes all over the place, all over Babylon, and all over the world. And we're watching uproars of the people. It hasn't gotten to the point where it's sedition among men, but we're watching nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. That's in the book of Matthews. We're watching our enemies go to war with each other verbally. Soon it's going to be physically. We're watching Esau, Edom, bicker among themselves when Esau hates Esau. You got Amalek, them small hats that hijacked our land, going against Edomites in Babylon, Edomites in every, in Ukraine, and you got them going against everybody, mainly Turkey, not necessarily Ukraine, but it's coming next. You got them speaking against them Edomites up there in Russia, Edomites in Europe. But mainly these Edomites here in Babylon. So they call Amalek is the head of the Esau nation. It's the head of the Edomites, and he's calling American Babylonian Edomites Esav, when they all Esau. So we're watching the Lord work a magnificent work on these people, man. Verse 4. Then I'll read verse 3 again. This is 2 Ezra 9 and 3. Therefore, when there shall be signs, be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people and the world. Verse 4. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were from before thee, even from the beginning. Verse 5. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And we're watching the end manifest itself. We're watching the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, bring these plagues upon the earth. And it's just going to get worse, just like he did in Egypt. He's hardening these people's heart not to see it. They keep bucking up against the Lord, keep bucking up against the true men of the Lord, the true people of the scriptures, the true biblical Israelites, which is so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We've been watching that because they coming down with that wrath because they only know they have but a short time. You got Nero trying to take away what remnant of history that's left of the transatlantic slave trade. You have Edomites pretty much killing off Jakes in these different places across Babylon. There's another kid that I think they hung him on a college campus, I believe. I don't remember the article. I know I ran across it when I was looking at a post. I ran across that article because someone made a list of all the Israelites that were pretty much killed within the last 3 or 4 years. That's been reported. That made the news. by so-called white men. These Edomites has been out here, running amok. And it's just going to get darker, because the Lord's going to harden these people's heart. And this is our job as, men that see it, men that have that eye salve, that, the Lord woke them up, brought them out of that sleeping state. This is Isaiah 62:6. I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, keep not silent. So our job is not to stay silent. Our job is to report what we see and offer repentance to our people. But our people are simple, man. They truly have taken on the persona of Edomites, because Edomites are base men. They're the lowest of all the nations, theoretically, in actuality. But at this moment, man, they run it. They rule the world. They have their time to rule. See, this is why the Lord is a man of balance. This is why He's fair, and people just don't see it. Each wicked kingdom had their time to rule. But we got next. When the Lord comes back and destroy this place, Babylon, and replenishes our land, which is Israel, that is inhabited right now by devils. The head of the Edomites, which is Amalek, small hats. Once he come back and revitalize our land, we're gonna be back in the rulership seat. We're gonna be back in rulership. We're gonna be on top of the nations, and we're gonna rule in righteousness. So our job until the Lord comes back is to report what we see. And I see our people are still walking around here like ostriches, man, with their head in the ground. But, the Lord said it, man, like 2/3 of Israel are going to have to go through that fire. And a lot of our people going to die here in Babylon. But the beautiful thing about the Lord and about the people, the true biblical Israelites, is that we are granted everlasting salvation. So those that die on this side, man, they're going to make it to the kingdom. They have to be reborn. They got to be reborn through the 1/3, the Lord's elect and His remnant at 1/3. So it is what it is, man. Now I see why the elders, the apostles, the bishops, and the elder Akim, they get pissed off, man. They tired of talking to dead horses, man. People walk by the camp every day. We right here in the middle of Babylon, we in the heart of Babylon. And people walk by. You might get some that might acknowledge that, the men of the Lord is out there. They might, it's in gestures. It's not, per se they stopping to get the word and try to get an understanding. But they acknowledge that men of the Lord are working. And then you got a bunch, way more than those that acknowledge. You got way more that hiss and snare, suck their teeth, roll their eyes. These people are going to die here, man. They're going to die in their iniquity because they have not repented to the true power, which is Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. It's not Jebus. This is 2nd Ezra 8:62. These things have I not shown unto all men, but unto thee, a few like thee. Then answered I and said, verse 63, Behold, O Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, now hast thou shown me the multitude of the wonders which thou wilt begin to do in the last times. But at what time thou hast not shown me, So, there's no specific date, time, day, whether it's going to be evening, whether it's going to be morning. It hasn't been given on when the Lord is coming back exactly. But our job is to study the times diligently and measure the signs that he gives us. And all the signs are pointing to the Most High coming back, man. In 2 Peter's, I believe it's 2 Peter's, he says, 1,000 years is one day is 1,000 years to the Lord. So, roughly paraphrasing, but for every one day that of the Lord is 1,000 years for us. So we won't be able to measure that time, in exact moments. But the signs that he give us is clear indications of his return. And our people are not ready for his return. They won't be ready for his return. Just because, man, they out here dancing. The barn is burning down and they in there having their good old time, man. Buck dancing and drinking. Having that, living their best life, living their best heathen life. Not taking into consideration of the things that were preached unto them. So your blood is off our hands, man. Each man is accountable for his own salvation. So you were given clear instructions to repent. You was given clear instructions to do the due diligence and study. You got men on the highways and byways consistently. But because they're not talking about the things that's pleasing to the ear, they don't have eloquent speech. They're not so-called lame-ass scholars who don't really know anything. But, they're not considered to be scholarly. People walk by, with and disregard. Don't take into consideration of what's being said. They hold fast to their plantation Christianity. So hold fast to that, And it's not going to work out for you. So I can't even say I hope it work out for you, because it's not going to work out for you, because the Lord gives clear instructions. But, people don't want to study, man. People don't want to come up out of this beast, man. This is not our rest. This is not our kingdom. This is our hell. This is our punishment. This is our last captivity. And how we know is the end? Just because of the signs. The technology that's being brought forth when you talk about Revelation 13 and that mark of the beast. They weren't able to achieve that in previous times. But now they have that technology to do so, and you see it. Everything is becoming cashless. They just gradually moving you towards that MOTB, that implantable C-hip. You see that they putting that shit in people's heads, and that goes right into the scriptures. So we're living in those times, but our people are just ignorant as hell, blinded. The Lord sewed their eyes shut. I'm gonna read 2 Ezra 1:9 again. 9:1 again. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before. So we know what's coming, and we're preparing ourselves spiritually for what's coming, because this war is not carnal, man. It's for us, it's a spiritual war. Holding fast in faith, holding fast to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, keeping our minds and our focus on the straight gate, keeping our mind focused on the kingdom, keeping our mind focused on what's to come, and preparing ourselves mentally and spiritually for for what's about to come down, which is Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30:7. But this is Ezekiel 33:2. Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast, and set him for their watchman. Verse 3. If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, the trumpet, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. So the trumpet is being blown, man. The sword has been picked up and the trumpet is being blown. So those who don't hear it and heed to it, take notice of the warning, and the Lord comes, your ass is done, man. And your blood is off the hands of the men that have been telling you to come back into the into the truth of the Most High, and not folly and these fairy tales that's being taught to you. This is Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart from this, for this. It's like Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. And 2/3 of our people just won't listen, But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because everybody is playing their role. Everybody's playing their lot. Is in their lot and playing their role. So there's nothing more that can be done. Either you listen or you don't. So many of our people just want to continue doing what they do, and not taking into consideration that the Lord is going to plead with you. And by pleading, it doesn't mean He's going to beg you. It means He's going to judge you, and that judgment is going to be an ass whooping. It's going to be, it's going to be you taking a nice deep dive into a lake of fire, playing piggyback with a missile, So it's been told, you've been warned. So now it's just about, scriptures playing itself out. You may have some people that's, that the Lord might wake up, but scriptures say, man, two parts is going, it's going to feel that fire, and the third part going to be brought through the fire. Roughly paraphrasing. Is Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach, or the Sirach, the book of Ecclesiasticus 12 verses 10 and 11. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So our people love to trust this so-called white man, and that's not the majority of the 2/3, because 2/3 are just ignorant as hell, YNs and ONs, young niggas and old niggas, an old nigga was once a young nigga, a old fool was actually a young fool. So those people are just living in their own little bubble of ignorance. But you got a lot of our people who trust this white man, who trust this so-called white man, who trust these Edomites, who want to save these Edomites because they think that's what the scriptures is saying. The Lord has really chosen your delusion that you may believe a lie. So you're bugged out. You're bugged out. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. The scriptures speak on vengeance. So I don't have no love for an Edomite, man. Even when I wasn't in the truth, I had no love for an Edomite. You don't walk around with just punching Edomites in their face, spitting on Edomites. Nah, you don't do that. But I don't go out my way to do anything for them, So our people are in gross darkness. They got that Stockholm syndrome. They are in love with their enemy, and the book clearly tells you, don't trust your enemies. And we have all these different nations, man, that are against us, and in some form or fashion, our people dig them. Our people wanna help them. Well, be my guest, but that's not what the scriptures say. That's not our instructions. So as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So as clearly as iron produces rust, you could bet them motherfuckers are wicked. This is verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. So it don't matter how much you think you can convert an Edomite into loving you, it ain't gonna happen. We are sworn enemies from birth. So it ain't gonna happen, man. And if you do find an Edomite that's truly sincere with you, and he might be a Jake, But you can't say all Edomites are evil. Yeah, you can, man, because that's what the scriptures say, man. Don't trust them. You know what I mean? And it's mainly talking about these wicked elites, and these people that have this control that you have to go through in order to survive. But it trickles down to these to your low level Edomites as well. You have to have discernment, man. You have to judge these things properly. And I don't trust no Edomite. You know what I mean? And this is Ecclesiasticus, Sirach 12 and 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. It's telling you, man, don't trust these people. But our people stay relying on, these Edomites, man, trying to piggyback off them, trying to act like them, trying to be like them, trying to achieve what they achieve in this world. This is their kingdom, man. This is their heaven and our hell. He will wipe his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. So he's telling you, man, this dude is bloodthirsty, man. And he feels no better satisfaction than to spill your blood here in Babylon. But our people are fucking ignorant. Our people are fucking stupid. Jeremiah 4 and 22, Sardis children, stupid, foolish children. Verse 17, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. I'll read that again. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. So he's always going to be somewhere lurking, man, when shit is happening to you. When you can't get that job, and you rock that interview, he's sitting there looking at you, giggling. You know what I mean? He take pride, he take pleasure in watching your pain, and watching you suffer. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. So, that's just like you being on a job and you rocking out the situation, you rocking that workout, you pushing that workout. And this fucker is telling the boss what you did, that's contrary to the company policy or company rules, or he's trying to undermine your work, by speaking awful about you. In some form or fashion, man, these motherfuckers don't want to see you succeed, man. And rightfully so, man, because this is their kingdom, man. But it's all coming to an end, man. Their women is turning on them. You know, their government is turning on them because they're in the same situation as Jake. And the funny thing is, now these motherfuckers is crying because they can't afford to go on their little trips. They can't afford to have little funky backyard barbecues. You know, they can't afford that extra pickup truck. They behind on their bills. You know, they had to choose between lights and food. And they looking at us like, yo, why you not mad? Why you not riding with us in this anger? Like, yo, fuck you, man. We've been under that yoke for so long. We know how to, you know, we know how to rise up in those situations. We know how to manage those dark times that been on us for hundreds of years. We know how to manage that. We know how to we know how to make something out of nothing, where you was given everything and now you don't know how to use your imagination. You don't know how to be resourceful. So fuck you, man. Enjoy it. Taste that bitterness that your own people are bringing upon you. Really, the Most High, because He said to destroy this place and put your ass in a captivity, which I can't wait to put my foot up an Edomite's ass. Jeremiah. Before I read Jeremiah, this is Ecclesiasticus 12 and 18. He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. Yeah, so he enjoys watching you suffer. But yet we supposed to help them in their time of suffering. Man, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? And all you that can't take the harsh language, oh well, man, go to somebody else's page. Don't give a fuck. You know? Because this the scriptures speak truth. And you don't want to hear the truth in its rawest form. You want to be coddled. You want to be spoken sweet to. You want to hear sweet words. You want to be patted on the ass and your head rubbed. Nah, I ain't doing that. I'm just giving you the scriptures in its rawest fashion. So this man, this devil with the spirit of Satan on him, he is known as the wicked. Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. This man is known as the wicked. These people are wicked. And they love it and they enjoy when you're suffering. But you just don't get it, Jake. Jake won't get it. Jake still want to be underneath these people. Jake still want to ride with these people. But it's going to be at your demise. So have fun with that. This is Jeremiah 4:49 and 12. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. That's right. You're going to drink of that cup. Esau, Edom. All you Edomites. You're going to drink of that same cup. That same wrath that you put down upon us and wouldn't let go. That yoke that you kept perpetually on our neck. That's still on our neck. You're going to pay for that, man. That's the Lord hardening your heart. Just like He did Pharaoh. He going to drown your asses in the lake of fire the same way He did them fools. But with them, it was the Red Sea. He drowned them in water. Y'all Edomites gonna be drowned in fire, and rightfully so, and well deserved. Wisdom of Solomon 11 and 12. For a double grief come upon them, and a groaning for the remembrance of things past. You're gonna get double, man. You're gonna get double the grief. You know, you're moaning. People gonna hear that shit from miles away. You know, because all the things that you've done in the past, you wouldn't take your foot off our necks, even when it was time for you to take your foot off our necks. You know, you still got your foot on our necks. You still killing our people. You still trying to starve us out, hit us with all sorts of diseases and famines, and you know what I mean. And then you're gonna try to chip us. You know, you're gonna try to make us your spiritual property as well as just physical property. The Lord gonna fuck you up. This is Revelation 18:6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she have filled, fill to her double. So you're gonna get it, man. All the things that you've done to us. From the time Christopher Columbus came to these shores and got at our northern tribe brothers and sisters. From the time you brought us over here on them boats in that transatlantic slave trade until now, you're gonna receive double. All the burnings, the lynchings, the castrations, all that hard field work, building up your kingdom, building up your empire, all that rape, robbery, and murder. Outside of the rape, you gonna get it, man. You know what I'm saying? You gonna get it. So enjoy this Babylon shit while it lasts, because you only have but a moment. And after that, hardcore slavery. And then after that, you're just gonna be done away with. You know what I'm saying? Gonna throw you out like garbage and burn you like you know what I'm saying, right in the field like garbage. So get prepared for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna be a short one. You know what I mean? It's gonna be long for you. You know what I mean? The same way it's been a long, miserable ride for us, it's gonna be a long, miserable ride for you. Call Allah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rahak Radash, Abad Babal.